It's a warning backed by trends already happening right now. According to multiple economic reports, more than 1.2 million Americans moved out of high-cost states in just the last year. And if these trends keep accelerating, some states may become too expensive for middle-class families to survive in by 2030. Not because of one big crisis, but because of thousands of small increases stacking on top of people who can't carry more weight. Today, we're counting down the 10 U.S. states that are on track to become the most unaffordable places to live by 2030. When we reach number 1, you'll understand why so many Americans are quietly planning their exit. But first, here's the 20-second context you need. America's cost of living crisis isn't just happening in cities. It's spreading across entire states, reshaping migration patterns, changing housing markets, and pushing middle-class families into completely new regions. Economists say the biggest drivers are housing demand, wage stagnation, inflation, and infrastructure strain. But the real story is how unevenly this pressure hits. Some states will remain stable. Others will become unaffordable for the average household long before the decade ends. Now let's get into the countdown. Number 10, Washington. Washington used to be the affordable alternative to California. But those days are gone. Housing shortages around Seattle pushed prices to historic highs. Even smaller cities like Spokane and Tacoma saw rapid cost spikes fueled by tech expansion and population growth. Here's the surprising part. Even families earning above the national average are struggling with rent, utilities, and transportation. By 2030, experts believe Washington may join the list of states where owning a home becomes a luxury, not an expectation. Number 9, Massachusetts. Massachusetts has strong jobs, world-class universities, and a booming biotech sector. But all of that comes with a price tag rising faster than wages can keep up with. Boston's housing costs are already beyond reach for many. Childcare costs are among the highest in the nation. And taxes eat a large part of middle-class income. The twist is that the state's success is the very thing making it expensive. People want to live near opportunity, but opportunity is outpacing affordability. By 2030, Massachusetts may see a larger outflow of middle-income earners than ever recorded. Number 8, New Jersey. New Jersey should be affordable. It's not a major tech hub. It isn't flooded by new industries. But taxes. Taxes are the silent force pushing families out. Property taxes remain some of the highest in the country. Even small suburban homes can generate tax bills bigger than mortgage payments. Combine that with rising home prices and expensive everyday living, and many New Jersey families are quietly planning moves to Pennsylvania, the Carolinas, and Florida. If nothing changes, 2030 may be the year New Jersey becomes a state only high-income households can comfortably maintain. Number 7, Colorado. Colorado's transformation happened fast. What used to be a balanced, outdoors-friendly, affordable state turned into one of the country's fastest-rising cost zones. People fleeing expensive states accidentally made Colorado expensive too. More demand. Less space. Higher prices. Denver and Boulder became hotspots of inflation. Even mountain towns turned into short-term rental zones where locals struggle to find housing. For a state built on middle-class culture, this shift is dramatic. And by 2030, the squeeze could push many longtime residents out of the communities they helped build. Number 6, Maryland. Maryland's proximity to Washington, D.C. should be an advantage. Instead, it brings one of the highest overall cost of living burdens in the country. Housing around the DMV region is extremely expensive. Food prices run above the national average. And transportation costs, especially commuting, have soared. The strange thing is that Maryland has strong wages. But even strong wages can't win against a cost of living that rises faster than everything else. By 2030, Maryland may cross the threshold where the average family simply cannot keep pace. Number 5, Oregon. Oregon used to represent quiet, scenic affordability. But the past decade flipped that image completely. Portland's housing crisis spread outward. Small towns became expensive overnight. And the price of groceries, utilities, and transportation climbed sharply. The biggest issue isn't just cost. It's supply. Oregon simply does not have enough housing for its growing population. According to many analysts, without major expansion, Oregon may become one of the most financially stressful states for families by 2030, especially for renters and first-time home buyers. Number 4, New York. New York is not just expensive, it's unpredictable. Some areas are stabilizing. Others are exploding in cost. New York City remains one of the priciest places in the world to live. But the real concern is how those costs have spread statewide. Upstate cities once considered affordable, like Buffalo and Rochester, saw surprising price jumps as remote workers chased cheaper housing. But cheaper housing disappeared. If inflation continues, and if housing supply remains tight, New York may become a state where middle-class life is financially impossible outside a few small pockets. By 2030, many experts expect middle-class flight to accelerate. Number 3, Connecticut. Connecticut has beauty, education, and proximity to major cities. But it also has one of the highest combined cost of living indexes in the United States. Home prices surged. Property taxes hit painful levels. Electricity bills are among the highest in the nation. Even basic goods cost more than average. The shocking part? Connecticut's middle class is shrinking faster than the national rate. If nothing changes, 2030 could mark a major turning point, when Connecticut becomes a state dominated by high-income earners while everyday families quietly exit in large numbers. Number 2, Hawaii. Hawaii's cost of living is not rising, it's skyrocketing. Groceries, utility bills, transportation, medical services, almost every category costs significantly more than the national average. But the biggest factor is housing. Limited land, tourism demand, and short-term rentals created a crisis where locals can't compete with outside buyers. Many people born and raised in Hawaii now feel forced to move away, not because they want to, but because living there is no longer realistic. By 2030, Hawaii may become a state where middle-class families simply cannot build a long-term future without major financial support. Number 1, California. And now we reach the state economists rank as the most likely to become too expensive for the average family by 2030. California has breathtaking landscapes, world-leading industries, and unmatched diversity. But the cost of living has reached levels that even high-income professionals consider overwhelming. Housing is the core issue, demand massively outstrips supply. A typical home can cost multiple times the national average. Rent is crushing. But it's not just housing. Gas prices remain some of the highest in the country. Electricity rates keep climbing. Insurance premiums surged. Taxes on families and small businesses add even more pressure. Millions have already left California in the past few years, a historic outflow. The warning sign for 2030 is simple. If these trends continue, California may become the first major U.S. state where the middle class cannot survive without extreme financial strain. This isn't a political prediction. It's an economic one. One based on math, migration patterns, and cost of living pressure that keeps rising. Here's what most people don't realize. The states becoming too expensive aren't failing. They're growing too fast. Population increases. Housing shortages. High demand. Strong industries. Limited land. Inflation that compounds year after year. It's the success of these states, not their failure, that's driving everyday families away. This is the irony of America's cost of living crisis. When a place becomes popular, it becomes expensive. When it becomes expensive, the people who built it leave. By 2030, America's population map will look completely different. Millions will move to cheaper regions in the South and Midwest. New cities will rise in popularity. And some of the most iconic states in the country may struggle to keep the very people who once defined them. Not because people want to leave, but because they simply cannot afford to stay. That's the reality almost no one is talking about. If this video opened your eyes, then make sure you don't leave without taking the next step. Hit the like button if you learned something new today. Subscribe to Economic Vayogas for more deep global economic storytelling. And tell me in the comments, which state do you think will become the most unaffordable by 2030, and are people already leaving your city? Your voice matters. Your experience matters. And together, we'll keep uncovering the truth behind the numbers. See you in the next one.